The final step that you want to take to make sure that your data table is ready to go is adjusting your key to reflect the new information that you have. Ultimately, for this data table, you'd like to have all of these items, so 8 items, included in your data table. So first off, we take a look at our key as it is, and we see that it has our M1, our D1, our M2, and our D2. The sizing is a little weird. We can fix that. But we want to add our other 2 columns that we just created. So our M1, D1, which reflects our load on the left side. We notice that it has already, it doesn't look right. So it's coming out of that box. So the best way to fix that is just to merge that box to include all the information that you want. We also have to make sure that our M1 and our D1 have the appropriate subscripts. So again, Command 1, subscript, enter, Command 1, subscript, enter. Beautiful. Let's do the same thing for our M2, D2. Again, let's fix those subscripts. Command F1. Subscript. Okay, we are good to go. Again, this is now my load on the left or the right side of the fulcrum. I'm going to merge those cells again. And again, you can play around with the formatting, moving them all the way to the left so that we can be consistent with the boxes above. And now it looks like we need to do some adjusting of our box sizes. These ones up here are really big, the ones down low are really small. So I'm just going to move them a little bit and see what happens when I shrink just the smallest amount. Notice how all boxes are now the same size as the original box that I selected. I can make them even shorter, trying to get them all to fit into that one page. So they're inside my blue dotted line now, so I know I'm all in one page. I'm going to center these boxes or these items just to keep them consistent again. All right, we had some editing that we needed to do in order to identify which data looks great and which data is a little bit questionable. The way we do that is by comparing our 2 loads. On the left-hand side, I see that I have a load just over 2,000. On the right-hand side, my load is also just over 2,000. Those loads are not perfectly the same, but there's enough similarity, they're close enough that you might think, pardon me, they're pretty different. They're over 200 units, so grams centimeters apart. So this is outlier data. It doesn't really make sense, so this is bad data from lab. Okay, again, I can merge those boxes so that so that you can read the whole thing. And now I've explained what that yellow color means. Again, these 2 values are actually fairly similar. They're about 30 apart, but with the sources of error that we have in our lab setup, I'm going to leave those as they are. 288, 216, this is right on the border. This is your choice. If you would like to say that this is a little too different for your comfort level and you'd prefer to go back and redo the data, but we're not doing that today, you can go ahead and fill those in yellow. And again, we already have in our key what that yellow color means. Okay. Final step today, we notice that some of our data boxes are empty. That means that we need to fill them in using our equation. So our equation tells us that these relationships need to balance out. So if this distance on the right of 20 and the distance on the left is 10, I know that this one is double this one. Therefore, the distance on the left, or the mass on the left, must be double the mass on the right. So I'm going to use 50 grams and 25 grams. I double check to make sure that my 2 loads are the same. But now, since I calculated this data, I didn't collect it in lab. We can read it. I'll fix the ones up top so it's a lighter green and a little more legible. So here we're going to type in calculated using the balance equation, just so that when people look at our data table, they know that when those loads were perfect, it wasn't because we got it perfectly in lab, it's because we used our calculation, and that's why they came out so beautifully. Final step, this has now taken over into the second page. I'm going to decrease the size of that box, just small formatting changes. I might want to make this border around the whole key so that it shows up. So again, come to my borders. I'm going to do a thick box border just because that's my preference. And now, Command P, all on one page. I am ready to go.